will be doing a form which projects the President-elect George Manuel Weah and the benefit of his presidency to Liberians. My poem is entitled, What I See. About 52 years ago, a gem was uncovered in a tiny West African country called Liberia. This gem unearthed was not noticed and was considered a brass. As times elapsed and destiny shifted, this gem gradually polished itself through intense rain and sunshine until it was first recognized by the Cameroonian soccer legend Roger Miller as the Black Diamond of Africa. Yes, this gem transformed from being a worthless brass to be the best of the best diamond of all diamonds. This diamond, our living legend, President-elect George Manuel Usman Weah, painstakingly moved himself from the dark drums of poverty to becoming the only Liberian and African to win the title of the world best football player in the year 1995. Oh, what a blessing for we Liberians to have him as our president. Yes, this philanthropist who has won many trophies has helped and is still assisting Liberians in the world at large. Our president-elect is a symbol of hope for every Liberian child, whether from a poor or rich background. And that is what I see in his presidency. Looking over the horizon, I see a dawn of a new era, an era of unlimited hope, a hope of resounding positive change, a change so resolute that the war of corruption will be ultimately shattered and the war of economic empowerment erected, the war of inequality demolished, and the war of true justice built, the war of poverty broken down, and the war of prosperity raised, the war of educational decadence obliterated, and the war of an enlightened educational system ushered in, the war of medieval roads, infrastructure be extinguished, and the war of infrastructure renaissance be established. To end, ladies and gentlemen, generally, to our incoming leaders, in particularly, I need you to pay heed to these wise words of the 10th President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. He said, and I quote, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." Thanks.
Thank you,
Honorable Chief of Protocol, based on the legislative practices, the best practice of the legislature, I will entertain a motion for executive. Motion. So second. It has been moved and seconded that this joint legislative session is now in executive. Thank you. You can proceed now. You can proceed. Yeah, you can proceed.
It is my honor and pleasure to recognize and welcome to this event the President of the Republic of Guinea and Chairman of the African Union, His Excellency Alpha Conde. And also, we have received the President of the Republic of Togo, His Excellency Yassinge. also have the pleasure to welcome to the podium the President, His Excellency of Burkina Faso. We'll invite the Honorable Edwin Snow to introduce the ECOWAS Parliament, who are representing the ECOWAS Commission at this occasion.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the 54th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia, I'm pleased at this time to recognize some dignitaries from other parliaments. We'll begin with the Honorable Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Speaker Mustafa Sisselo of Senegal. Mr. President, you are welcome, Mr. Speaker. We also want to recognize the President of the Nigerian Senate, who is visiting with us. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, you are welcome, sir. We also want to recognize the Deputy Speaker of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Mr. Shino Bar. Saw him somewhere. Mr. Bar, you are welcome. We also want to recognize the Speaker of the Parliament of Morocco, who is also visiting with us. At this time, we also want to recognize the ECOWAS Parliament Female Association, ECO-FRIPA. The women of the ECOWAS Parliament are here in full to support the Vice President-elect, Madam Jewel Howard-Taylor. So the women from the ECOWAS Parliament are also here, and a huge portion of the ECOWAS Parliament are also here to give support to His Excellency, President-elect George Weah, who is a member, till a few minutes now, will be still a member of the ECOWAS Parliament. So the Parliament is here in full to give support to our outgoing member of the ECOWAS Parliament. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and honorable distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
The AFL band will give us a selection. It is my distinguished honor to also welcome and recognize the President of Mali, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Mali. we have other distinguished guests amongst us. We'd like to recognize Mrs. Fatoumata Jallow Dambajan, Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia. Also, the Commissioner of Political Affairs of the African Union Commission, Ambassador Sesuma. The inaugural choir, the combined inaugural choir, will now give us a selection. The combined inaugural choir. Thank you, choir. We'd also like to acknowledge the presence of the ex-Prime Minister who is representing the President of Egypt. We want to welcome him. We also want to welcome the Chair of the Council of Nations, representative of His Excellency, the President of Algeria. The Special Representative of the President of Ukraine, we also want to take this time to welcome you. We will now invite the Marshal of the Supreme Court.
Motion for regular session. It has been moved and seconded that the session be open. So, all those in favor, they can move by saying yes. Those against? Those against? Ladies and gentlemen, with a unanimous vote to resolve into joint session for the sole purpose, as stated earlier, the 54th legislature is hereby resolved into said session to have the 24th president-elect, His Excellency George Manawiya, and the Vice President-elect, My Excellency Joy Howard Taylor, inaugurated into their respective offices, and it is hereby so ordered. You can proceed.
We'll now invite the Chief Justice, His Honor Francis Hubba, for the administering of the oath of office to the President-elect and the Vice President-elect.
this time, the Marshal of the Supreme Court of Liberia will proceed to instruct President-elect to take the oath of office.
Liberia, that true faith,
Allegiance
and allegiance
to the Republic,
to the Republic,
and will faithfully, conscientiously, and impartially discharge the duties and functions of the office of President of the Republic of Liberia. So help me God.
Hello. That's it. The administering of the oath of office done by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia, His Honor Francis Kokpa. And right after that, we get the inaugural statement from President and Judge here. It's very amazing here, and our crew from the Roberts International Airport has just arrived. We're seeing a crowd from all over, all Liberians, in a zealous mood, very enthusiastic. They've been awaiting this day since 2004. They have been awaiting this day since 2002. They've been awaiting this day since 2004, and now it has come to fruition. We have our two distinguished individuals. As we told you, they were at the Roberts International Airport interacting with diplomats, presidents, as a matter of fact. Moses, welcome. You are live now at the Stamaka Disposition.
Thank you, Julius. This is unprecedented. This is the long-awaited day we've ever dreamed of. Our president, His Excellency Ambassador George Manawiya.
Let us be quiet as the Chief Justice administers the oath of office to the Vice President.
This official occasion,
Let all the
sick
sick and cease,
Liberia is moving
please.
forward. We have shown the world that this country, a tiny country in West Africa, is ready to champion democracy in the rest of Africa.
Kwame, when you were interviewing...
Hold up.
I mean, to see the level, I counted the planes that taxied the runway. There were over 20 plus of them, and they kept coming. And one amazing thing, they all talked about hope and what George Weah embodies as a person. When I spoke to JJ Okocha, his analogy was that Weah is now the captain of a team. So he hoped that he picks some of the best so that at the end of the day we can win the game.
therefore we are all hopeful of a better Liberia.
Correct. Correct. You can say that. And another thing that you see, look all in the stands. Look all in the stands. Everywhere you turn, you see hope. You see hope. And then that stuff is that you say you have to change. And once you change, hope will come again. And hope is alive. All eyes are now on the Republic of Liberia.
Very good and very well so. And this is not a football match, but it's just overwhelming. The expectations are huge.
Of the Republic of Liberia. You and myself were growing up as little kids. We used to be in the best of my ability. Everyone play here. History repeats itself. You know, history repeats itself. And so here it comes again. He is here taking the oath of office, and he's about to make a round with his people.
And Moses, coming to you and looking at this crowd, what's your own description? We did not come here for a football game, though.
Like, I'm just out of words. The future is here. The future is here. Liberians are ready to rebuild this country. Look around you. It's a show of law. It's a show of patriotism. Who has seen this across Liberia all those years? This has never happened in our country. All these great folks are here to say, Mr. President, we are ready to support you. We are ready to put hands on you that will move our country forward. This is just too much.
Bremer J.V. Bremer also joined us here on this particular special coverage of the inauguration ceremony. Bremer, what can you say about this particular ceremony today?
This ceremony is very historic. It is
I'd like to now call on the Chancellor
to bring the final
of
reconciliation that
the
we all have
order
been crying for over the last years. After today,
distinctions,
like I've always
who
said,
will admit
Liberia will never be the
into
same
the order
anymore.
as
Liberia
Grand
will grow
Master,
from this current
the
stage
President
to
of
a
the
stage that we
Republic
all have
of
anticipated over the
Liberia,
last decades.
His
That is why
Excellency
every single Liberian took this very
Mr.
day to
George
be very
Mana
splendid and important.
Weah.
That's why they left all of their activities to assemble here.
You will have to interrupt it because the president of this republic now, after suing the office, George Weah, will make a statement. So moving back to our other camera.
Sire, I have the honor to present you the chain collar, the grand cordon, and the star of the most venerable order of the pioneers of the Republic of Liberia. And sire, may I ask you to allow me to assist you to put them on your present, the distinguished son of Liberia.
Madam John Chancellor, I'm honored you may put it on my person.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I will now call on the Cutlass Party to lower the Liberian flag. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the flag party include Master Sergeant G. Shadow, Sergeant Major 1st Infantry Battalion, 23rd Infantry Brigade, Armed Forces of Liberia. Staff Sergeant Lehman Ibrahim, Staff Sergeant Rogers Harris, Sergeant Ajivon Benedict, Sergeant Nimle George, Sergeant Dima David, and Sergeant Tony Wesley. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to be witnessing here today happens every time there's a change of regime. This flag will be lowered forward by the non-commissioned officer in charge of the flag duty, turned over to the commander of troops. Commander of troops will turn the flag over to the chief of staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, and later be turned over to the former president of this republic, Her Excellency, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Please stand for the lowering of the Liberian flag. At the lowering of the Liberian flag, all military and paramilitary personnel wearing uniform will run a hand salute. The flag has been lowered by the flag party of the Armed Forces of Liberia. They will now fold the flag. Master Sergeant G. Shadow, Sergeant Major, 1st Infantry Battalion, 23rd Infantry Brigade, is the non-commissioned officer in charge of the flag party. Ladies and gentlemen, the flag party is now performing a folding ceremony for the Liberian flag. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, members of the flag party include Staff Sergeant Rogers Harris, Staff Sergeant Lehman Ibrahim, Sergeant Benedict Ajivon, Sergeant Beeman David, and Sergeant Nimle Josh. And of course, the non-commissioned officer in charge of the flag party, Master Sergeant G. Shadow, Sergeant Major, 1st Infantry Battalion, 23rd Infantry Brigade, Armed Forces of Liberia. As you can see, the non-commissioned officer in charge of the flag party is now performing a drill procedure by uniquely folding the Liberian flag. Ladies and gentlemen, lowering that flag, folding it, and placing it in a cage, turning it over to Her Excellency Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, signifies the end of our regime. flag has been folded by the non-commissioned officer in charge of the flag party. Master Sergeant Kua Plazian now move with the cage toward the non-commissioned officer in charge of the flag party to place the flag in the cage. Master Sergeant Kua Plazian is the Command Sergeant Major of the 23rd Infantry Brigade, Armed Forces of Liberia. The commander of troops now move 6 steps away from the flag party in readiness to receive the Liberian flag. The flag party is still caging the flag. The flag has been caged, given by the Command Sergeant Major of the 23rd Infantry Brigade to the non-commissioned officer in charge of the flag party. He now turned about and moved to the commander of troops. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, the commander of troops for today's parade is Captain Blasili Michael Wilson, Commanding Officer, 2nd Infantry Battalion, 23rd Infantry Brigade, Armed Forces of Liberia. He now receives the flag from Master Sergeant G. Shato. Master Sergeant G. Shato now pay compliment to the colors and move back to his position. The commander of troops now move to the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, who will now receive the flag. Chief of Staff now pay compliment to the colors. He received the colors from the commander of troops. Commander of troops pay compliment to the colors, turn about. Chief of Staff turn about and move to the former president and the former commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, Her Excellency Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Ladies and gentlemen, this signifies the end of Madam Ellen regime. The Chief of Staff now moved to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, His Excellency George Manewia. He received a new flag. He now moved to the Commander of Troops. The Commander of Troops now received the flag from the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia. Commander of Troops now turned about, moving to the non-commissioned officer in charge of the flag party, who will now receive the flag for hosting. Ladies and gentlemen, the flag is not just a symbol. It is not just a symbol, it is a stripe that represents a nation, the embodiments of its people, ideals and value. The non-commissioned officer in charge now moved back to the pole with the new Liberian flag given by His Excellency Ambassador George Manewia. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, under the grandstand is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, His Excellency George Manewia, alongside the former President of this Republic, Her Excellency Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, remain standing for the hosting of the flag. Ladies and gentlemen, the flag has been hosted. This signifies a dawn of a new day in Liberia. The beginning of His Excellency George Manewia regime. Ladies and gentlemen, remain standing as His Excellency George Manewia, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, takes his seat. Ladies and gentlemen, the change of seats has been performed. The flag party will now retire.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, I have the greatest honor to invite the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Mr. George Manewia, to deliver his inaugural address.
Excellency Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Excellency Head of State, Ambassador Joseph Nyimabwaka, Honorable Joel Howard Taylor, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, the Governing Council of the Tripartite Coalition Democratic Change, CDC, Madam Claire Marie Weah, First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, His Honor the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, Mr. Speaker and members of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Pro Tempore members of the Liberian Senate, the Dean and members of the Cabinet, the Special Representatives of the UN Secretary General and other representatives of the United Nations, the Don and members of the Diplomatic Corps, our international partners and political stakeholders, our religious community and traditional council, market women, the student body, the Fourth Estate, special guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My fellow citizens, I am humble and thankful for the trust and hope you have put in me. I am filled with joy and proud to see so many friends across the world join us in celebrating what is truly an historic moment for our country. To all our citizens and international guests, we thank you for coming. I have spent many years of my life in stadiums, but today is a feeling like no other. I am overwhelmed with the crowd and the energy here today, and I guarantee you, when we finish, there will not be a winner or the loser. Today we all wear the jersey of Liberia, and the victory belongs to the people, to the peace, and to our democracy. The tens of thousands of Liberians here today, and many more in our community across the country who are listening, gathered together around radios in the Palava Hut. It is to you we are responsible to deliver the change you deserve. Indeed, we must deliver the change that our people need in order to transform our lives for the better. I promise to do everything in my power to be the agent of positive change, but I cannot do it alone. First, I called upon the revealed institution that hosts us today and from which the Vice President and I come, the legislative, our co-equal branch of government, to work with me to create and pass essential laws that are needed to complete the foundation of this nation. Together, we hold our citizens clarity on fundamental issues such as the land beneath their feet, freedom of speech, and how national resources and responsibility are going to be shifted from this capital to the counties. The people expect better cooperation and more action from their government. We can do better together. Today, Liberians have reached an important milestone in the never-ending journey for freedom, justice, and democracy, a surge that has remained central to our history as a nation. Many of those who founded this country left the pain and shame of slavery to establish a society where all will be free and equal. But that vision of freedom, equality, and democracy has not yet been realized. That human longing for the true and lasting freedom has revealed itself in many ways since Liberia's founding. Sometimes the drive has been divisive and confrontational, and too often violent, bloody, and deadly, as it was in the 14 years of civil conflict, when the essence of equality and unity led us down the path of destroying our own country. Notwithstanding the harshness and immeasurable cost of the lesson, we have learned that equality and freedom are never just a final destination that the people or a nation reaches. These are the fundamental human rights that our people deserve, and that must be held up and measured against our action, our policy, our laws, and our people are those elected to serve the people. Almost 50 years ago, Liberians laid down their arms and renewed their hope for a better and more equal society. With the help of regional partners, the United Nations, we chose democracy as our path and elected the first post-war government, which was led by Her Excellency Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Your Excellency, I thank you for laying the foundation upon which we can now stand in peace and to advance progress for our country. But this inaugural ceremony signals more than a peaceful transition from one democratic administration to another. It is also a transition from one generation of Liberian leadership to a new generation. It is indeed a confirmation that democracy exists in Liberia, and that it is here to stay. We have arrived at this transition neither by violence nor by force of arms. Not a single life was lost in the process. Blood should never be the price tag for democracy. Rather, this transition was achieved by the free and democratic will of the Liberian people, guaranteed by the rules of law. This inaugural gathering also celebrates an important precedent that we Liberians can and will rely on established institutions and the rule of law to resolve our political agreements. This demonstrates the maturity of our institutions and that we as a people have learned valuable lessons from our brutal history. My fellow Liberians, let none the splendor of these ceremonies, none the celebration of electoral victory, make us forget how we arrived at this moment. We have arrived here on the blood, sweat, tears, and suffering of so many of our citizens, too many of whom died, longing for real freedom and equality. Today, we must remember the hundreds of thousands who died and many more whose lives were upended and families displaced because we lost the sight of the fact that we can only reach a higher state of equality and freedom by treating each other with love and respect, not tearing each other down. Truly taking this lesson to heart will bring the dawn of a new Liberia, so that their depths would not be in vain. I solemnly pledge today, with the help of all of you, my fellow citizens, to build a Liberia of equality, freedom, dignity, and respect for one another. Let us all stand for the moment of silence to remember those who died on our soil, in our conflict, and by our own hands. Let it never be so again. Thank you. Please be seated. My fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen, on this day of inauguration, as we begin to build upon the foundation of this new Liberia, I, George Fonke Klonjirade Bakugbe Tape Manewia, your new president, must first give thanks and praises to the Almighty God for the blessing He has bestowed upon our country. And I say, my people, thank you, Yah. Thank you, Yah, for entrusting me with the responsibility of leading the effort to build this new and better Liberia. It will be my task, my duty, and my honor to lead this nation from division to national unity and toward a future of hope and prosperity. I've here taken an oath before you, and therefore, and before the Almighty God, to uphold the Constitution and to pray to preside over this government and this country to the best of my ability. Rest assured, I will not let you down. And so, my fellow citizens, I want to acknowledge you that the foundation of the new Liberia must be reinforced by the steel of integrity. We need men and women, boys and girls, whose integrity provides the foundation of the trust that is required for Liberian society to benefit her people. My fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen, during my tenure as President of Liberia, the loudest battle cry that must ring from the mountain of Wologizi to the peak of Yekepa, from the ranges of Putu to the hills of Bomi, and from the coast of Harper to the shores of Morovia, must be the cry for national unity. We should strive to put aside our differences and join hands in the task of our nation building. We must learn how to celebrate our diversity without drawing lines of division in our new Liberia. We belong to Liberia first before we belong to our inherited tribes or chosen counties. We must not allow political loyalties prevent us from collaborating in the national interest. We must respect each other and act as neighbors, regardless of religious, social, and economic differences. In the words of our national anthem, a union strong, success is sure. We cannot fail. United, we are certain to succeed as a nation divided we are certain to fail. My fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen, it is my belief that the most effective way to directly impact the poor and to narrow the gap between the rich and poor is to ensure that public resources do not end up in the pocket of government officials. I further believe that the overwhelming mandate that I received from the Liberian people is a mandate to end corruption in public service. I promise to deliver on this mandate. As officials of government, it is time to put the interests of our people above our own selfish interests. It is time to be honest with our people. Though corruption is a habit amongst our people, we must end it. We must pay civil servants a living wage so that corruption is not an excuse for taking what is not theirs. For those who do not refrain from enriching themselves at the expense of the people, the law will take a course. I say today that you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. To the private sector, I say to you, Liberia is open for business. We want to be known as a business-friendly government. We will do all that is within our power to provide an environment that will become conducive for the conduct of honest and transparent business. We will remove unnecessary regulatory constraints that tend to impede the establishment and operation of business in a profitable and predictable manner. As we open our doors to all foreign direct investment, we will not permit Liberian-owned businesses to be marginalized. As we open our doors to all foreign direct investment, we will not permit Liberian-owned businesses to be marginalized. We cannot remain spectators in our own economy. My government will prioritize the interests of Liberian-owned businesses and offer programs to help them become more competitive and offer services that international investors seek as partners. My fellow Liberians, this victory could not have been possible without the support of the youth of this country, the women of this country, especially those who make their living by selling in the markets. To all of you, I want to say a heartfelt thank you. This is your government. In the famous words of President Abraham Lincoln of the United States of America, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We could not have arrived at this day without our voices being heard loudly, and all our views, no matter how critical, being freely expressed in an atmosphere void of intimidation and arrest. This was only made possible by the tolerance of my predecessor, Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who protected the rights of freedom of speech as enshrined in our Constitution. Now, in my turn, I will go further to encourage and reinforce not only freedom of speech, but also freedom of political assembly. My fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen, to change the structure of Liberian economy will require huge investment in agriculture, infrastructure, in human capital, and in the technology. We hope our international development partners will assist us in this transformation. Meanwhile, on behalf of all Liberians, I would like to thank the international community for the invaluable contributions they have made to our peace and economic development. I thank the economic community of the West African states, the ECOWAS, for standing with Liberia throughout these years. Many of our West African brothers and sisters shed their blood for Liberians during our conflict. This is a debt Liberians would never be able to repay. We count these fallen West African soldiers among the martyrs of our history. Without their supreme sacrifices, this day would not have been possible. ECOWAS will continue to play a very meaningful role during my presidency. I also thank the United Nations for the important role it has played in Liberia. We stood with the United Nations at its founding when it was just an idea driven by ideas. Then in our darkest day, the UN stood with us. The UN peacekeeping mission have ensured unbroken peace within our borders for more than a decade, and will soon demonstrate their confidence in us by transitioning its tasks from peacekeeping program of the UN organization, which will continue in key sectors such as education, health, and agriculture. Ending the peacekeeping mission successfully is something which all Liberians and our partners should take great pride. We thank all members countries of the United Nations for your support, and I promise to continue to build on the success that we have achieved together. To the government and people of the United States of America, we thank you for your strong support over the years. The Republic of Liberia has a strong historic relationship with the United States of America, which has manifested itself, and that relationship will even be stronger under my administration. To the European Union, I say thank you for your strong partnership with Liberia. European aid has provided critical support for Liberia's recovery from war, and this continued support will be important as we forge a new path of transformation. Without Europe, George Manawia would not be standing here delivering this inaugural address as 24th President of the Republic of Liberia. It was my success in European football that enabled me to give back to my beloved country. Europe will always have a special place in my heart. And as President, I intend to strengthen my relationship with the European community for the benefit of all Liberians. The Samuel Kanyando Sports Complex to the People Republic of China, I say to you, Sheshe. Our administration will continue to support the One China policy. China has emerged as one of Liberia's most dependable allies, It is my hope that Chinese-Liberian relationships will grow stronger during my tenure as president. The Samuel Kanyando Sports Complex, built by the Chinese, where this inaugural ceremony is being held, is where I gain my exposure to the football world. It does not only stand as a monument of Chinese friendship towards Liberians, but it also stands as a symbol of peace and reconciliation for Liberian people. During our civil conflict, this was the venue that brought opposing factions together during national marches, effectively reconciling them to a single national purpose, Liberia. And once again today, we stand at this same venue, united for one purpose, Liberia. This is the time that we put away our political differences to work together in forging a new Liberia where the affordability of all goods and services will no longer be luxury to the privileged, but rather a right for all Liberians. To the African Union, I also say thank you for standing with Liberia over the past several years. Liberia has always had an historic relationship with the AU. As a founding member of the African Union, I look forward to participating with my colleagues at the forthcoming summit, where we intend to utilize the resources and expertise of the African Union for the benefit of our country. To other bilateral and multilateral partners, I say a sincere thanks to you, the World Bank, Sweden, the United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, Norway, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, to name too few, have also played important roles in Liberia's emergence from conflict and will remain critical for the transformation we seek. My fellow Liberians, my greatest contribution to this country as president may not lies in the eloquence of my speeches, but will definitely lie in the quality of the decision that I will make over the next 6 years to advance the lives of poor Liberians. I intend to construct the greatest machinery of pro-poor governance in the history of this country. I will do more than my fair share to meet your expectation. I ask you to meet mine, for I cannot do it alone. Mine is an expectation that you, fellow citizens, will rise up and take control and responsibility for your destiny. That you will look away from the things that divide us and draw strength and energy from the things that unite us. Mine is an expectation that you will push yourselves to achieve the possibility that are within your reach. That you will aim to do more for yourselves and expect others to do less.